This is my project car, and it hasn't run for over 3 years. It is a 1997 Toyota Celica. Originally had a 2.2 litre 5SFE engine. We're going to try and cram a 3.5 litre 2GR V6 into this car. Now, this car's been sitting here for almost 3 years, and I think it's time to work on it and get it finished. So, let's make a list. The first on the list is the gearbox needs to go back together. It has been apart for way too long. Next, I'm going to refresh all the seals on the engine. Get the engine mounts. ECU and wiring. Exhaust. There's only 5 things on the list. This should be easy. But yeah, let's start with this. Past me thought it would be smart to get an LSD. The knockoff version of the Quaif LSD. Bought this OBX from Walmart and got it shipped all the way to Australia. Heard mixed reviews, so I hope I don't regret doing this. Need to press on these bearings properly because I don't have a hydraulic press here. And while the transmission was open, I thought, let's just rebuild these. Rebuild the input and output shafts. New synchros and new bearings later. These are ready to put back in as well, so hopefully this transmission is good. Okay, so it's been a few days and I have got the diff all together now. We've got the bolts torqued down, but first we need to set the preload of both the diff and the output shaft. Also, shout out to Frankenstein Motorworks and their community. They've been so helpful. There's no gatekeeping in that community. It's actually crazy. Any questions I have had, they've been so quick to answer and it's been correct all the time. It's a very involved community that Mark has, so that is really amazing to see. Anyway, let's continue. Let's start with the output shaft. Okay, so now we have to torque down the transmission case, all 14 bolts, to 29 Newton meters. Okay, output shaft, rear shim, and then the retainer as well. So, okay, I spent a lot of time actually looking for the shim just to figure out it's inside the retainer plate still, so yeah. Oops. Now that's there, I guess I could have left it on. Those need to be set to 42 Newton meters. So 30mm nuts. That was unexpected, but let's run it in. I don't have a 1/4 inch to 3/8 or 1/2 inch adapter. I need to go get one. We'll be back. We have the extension city 1/4 inch to 3/8, 3/8 to 1/2 inch. Okay. Allegedly my preload is 1 Newton meter. Okay, I think it's quite obvious to tell that I wasn't using this tool correctly. So I went back and did the reading again and I got values of around 0.5 to 0.6 Newton meters. If you can't tell how I was doing it wrong, number one, I'm holding the shaft, which is increasing the reading, as well as that it's not perpendicular. So yeah. Next, we're going to try and get the diff in to check the diff preload. Just like before, we'll put it all back on and torque it. Don't really need to see that again. I have a feeling we're going to need a thinner shim because this should only be adding like 1 to 2 Newton meters. but it definitely feels more than that. So then we can see we're at 4.9 Newton meters. The specification states that it should be between 0.8 and 1.6 for a new bearing. I was low-key hoping that we could put the transmission back together and get me done with it basically, but it looks like we're going to have to get a new shim here so that we can get the diff's preload correct. Okay, this shim is 2.35 millimeters.
Am I in focus?
Okay, so it's been a few days and basically we've done nothing. No. Well, yes, we haven't progressed anywhere, but if you remember before, the shim was 2.35 millimeters. Progressively I've been shaving it down 0.05 millimeters. It's now at 2.05 millimeters, and our diff preload is still way too high. I think it's around 8 or 9 Newton meters where it should be 1.5. So I'm starting to get worried that measuring the diff's preload through the output shaft is, I don't know, giving me some errors along the way. So I'm trying to, if you can hear in the background, print some splines that I can fit inside the diff itself so I can test the preload of the diff on its own. When this print finishes, let's have a look if it fits in here and the splines line up. Okay, the print is complete, allegedly. Let's have a look. There it is in all its glory. Let's take it out. I mean, it looks printed. It has splines. It has splines, but who knows? I did the measuring, so it's probably wrong. Pretty good depth there too. Now let's see if this fits in the actual transmission. No, of course it doesn't. I think these splines are too big. Now time to print revision number 2. Make the splines a bit smaller. Okay, so revision number 2 of the print has been made, but so has number 3, what's left of 4, and finally number 5. Obviously this one didn't hold up very well to the, I guess, shear stresses. And we're using PLA because I'm cheap. These kept rounding off and I didn't put it at 100% infill for whatever reason. After all the failures, finally reached a design, nice and compact. 34 splines, I believe. It was a little bit big, my first design, so I had to bring it down 1.5 millimeters. I have a feeling that's because my printer's out of calibration, not because my measurements are bad, but work with what we got, hey? This now fits very snugly inside the diff. It held up to about 5 Newton meters worth of force, and we really shouldn't be exceeding 2. Wow, beautiful. For now, look at this graph. So this graph shows us the shim thickness versus diff preload, and if we look at it, it's looking very linear, so that's good to see. We started at 2.36 millimeters and we're down to 1.8 now, and the math shows us that we need to get down to 1.6 millimeters. That's all good and well, but I think that's getting down to a size where it could start warping. However, let's see. This is now 1.7 millimeters. So according to my graph, this should be within spec. We've got our tool. Let's do this for the 7 millionth time. Alright, fingers crossed. Fingers very, very crossed. Okay, so as expected, the preload is right at 1.5 Newton meters, so very happy to see that. We still need to now set the preload of the output shaft. So for the output shaft, we need a weight until we get the packages delivered. Probably gonna take another month. Okay, now we finally have some shims after about a month. Let's check how our preload is on the output shaft. Oh my god. Somehow we just caught just enough of it to get it off. That is so lucky. There was just enough on it for me to get it loose. So, old shim here. This was 2 millimeters. So this one's 2.2. Let's test this one out. So with the new shim, we are seeing 1.5 Newton meters. Time to put this back together, I guess. Finally, now. We tested our preloads. Finally all good about a month later. Now it's time to put back our transmission. Now we have a variety of parts laid out on the floor here, which I have labeled quite clearly. So it should be relatively easy to put it all back in the right order. Start with our transmission fork here. Let's not forget our reverse roller pin, I guess. The reverse shift fork roller. Very easy to miss. Right there, that ball that you can see right here. Reverse shift arm bracket. Reverse idler gear sub-assembly. Right, a lovely bead. Time to install the top half of the transmission case. Okay, slight issue. It won't go into any gear. I probably should have checked this before I put everything back on, honestly. But I really don't want to have to take it all apart. But it kind of seems like that's the direction that we're heading. Come on. Basically, it wasn't going into reverse and it wasn't spinning very freely. So I think I have to take it apart to see why that is, basically. With the case off, what I will say was the sealant was a bit excessive. I think that could have been bad. We'll redo that and we'll spread it with our fingers properly. If I'm being completely honest, I have no idea what my problem was, why it was not spinning well, because I can shift it here. And shift that one. I'm being entirely bamboozled here. I don't know why the shaft wasn't spinning before or why it wasn't going into reverse. I literally couldn't find anything. I guess we'll just put it back together, see what happens. Okay, I think I figured out my issue actually. It was a very silly issue. You can see now that we can spin it by hand. The issue was, don't know how well you can see it, but this arm here for reverse was actually sitting underneath the gear here, so that it was always in gear basically. See, now I can shift it into gear and out of gear, but before it was just sitting in here the entire time with the arm that is here under here. Very silly mistake. Basically a job to just put it all back again. Okay, we're pretty much back to exactly where we were before, but hopefully we'll be able to, yes, spin the input shaft by hand. Before, this was not even possible. There's definitely that reverse idler. Reverse should be fixed. Now, while we're here, let's test all the gears. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Yes, finally we've got reverse. Let's go. Obviously there's a lockout, so if you go into fifth, it doesn't let you go straight into reverse, which is a lockout. So first, and very cool to see how it works. But yeah. That was a struggle, but finally it is all back together. Does it work? Don't know yet. Of course, we got our new LSD in there, all our new synchros, so only time will tell when we get the engine in the car and it started if this transmission's actually if this transmission actually does anything. Well, if this transmission even works. Anyway, that's it for this one. Next time we'll get started on the engine, start putting that all together, because right now it is just a bare block. Put that together, make this transmission to that, and hopefully the swap's coming along well.